You are about to witness history in the making.
What's up, everyone? It's episode 21 of the Pop Culture Gamers podcast. I'm your host this week. It's Haydn, and I'm here with Steve. Say hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
So, it's going to be a bit of a shorter show because it's midweek. We didn't get a chance to record anything at all on the weekend just because I was going to Insomnia, which is a gaming festival, and I've got lots of news for you about that, and we've just sort of like pulled it together tonight and decided we'll just do a bit of a talk about the show, do a bit of a shorter one, maybe a bit of news or whatever in there as well, because I think there's been a couple of things that have happened this week, especially in America, that's gone on that might be worth talking about. And then we'll have a normal show on the weekend. So, going on to gaming this week.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
So, I don't know, I'm not, Steve, you've seen the news or not, but you know the new Spider-Man game that's coming out?
Yeah.
Evidently, Insomniac has released the duration for the campaign, and they reckon it's going to be about 20 hours.
Bit short?
Well...
Or is it?
Is it or isn't it? I mean, we always have said before that if it's over 8 hours, it's all right.
Yeah, but you're paying 54 quid for this, for 20 hours gameplay?
Yeah.
That don't sound economical to me. Even though I do want to play it at some point. It won't be yet. I'm going to have to just prioritise what games I'm playing for a while.
Well, we know the priority is going to be Destiny 2, The Forsaken, don't we?
Well, that is about all I will be playing, I think.
Is it?
Due to what I told you earlier when I was speaking to you about. So, yeah, but that's a bit disappointing, though. I mean, maybe because I like RPGs being quite long. So is this worth waiting until it drops down in price for 20 hours worth? Possibly.
I have actually played it.
Yeah, because you would have probably had to go with it at Insomnia, didn't you?
I did indeed. So I'm going to talk about that, and well, maybe what I have to say may or may not change your mind, depending. So the other bit of news, of course, is about Xbox All Access announced.
Yeah, because mine's turning up tomorrow.
What did you think about the All Access?
I don't know. I've not worked out to see what it costs. I mean, was it $22?
It was $22 for the S. So the new announcement is that Microsoft have released are going to do for a limited time Xbox All Access. So this will give you, on a sort of phone contract of 2 years, an Xbox, either an S or an X, 2 years worth of Live and 2 years worth of Game Pass.
So that's for 2 years?
That's for 2 years. And then the console's yours at the end of it. And the console's on a 0% interest.
So if you were paying £22 for 2 years, right, say we'll do this as quick as our currency for the minute. That works out at 528 quid.
Yes.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
So if you're paying for gold for a year,
so that's 80. For a year. Yeah, let's say you pay the full amount, that's 80 quid for gold for 2 years.
And how much is an S now as well? These days,
about 200, aren't they?
So you might make a little bit out of it.
I don't know. I seem to think that this is a bit expensive because when you actually look at the X, that's 30.
How much is it for the X?
$35. So that's about 900 quid.
Yeah, 35 times 24 is $840.
Yeah, which seems like an awful lot to me. Anyway. I don't know. I don't know how much the Xbox actually goes for stateside, but. I think that the positive thing about this is obviously the fact that you're going to get an Xbox, with a relatively easy way of getting it. You're not going to have to shell out £400 or £500 for that, are you?
No, that's true.
Whereas, or $400 or $500. Whereas, you're going to be paying for it like a mobile phone. And I think nowadays, especially a lot of the maybe more younger generation are actually more used to going down the mobile phone sort of contract route for a couple of years. And then let's face it, you've got an asset you could actually sell at the end of it if you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go and buy one of the bundles that they have announced recently, at Gamescom.
Yeah.
So the Xbox One X with Forza 7 is $449.99. And that is a 1 terabyte. So maybe it might be, I mean, I don't know, if it does come out over here at some point.
Yeah.
It would be silly to bring it out now. They've just announced all these new SKUs for the Xbox One X with all the different games.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't feel like that would be something that would be coming here too soon. Because they would have announced it at Gamescom, surely.
Well, you would have thought so, but Microsoft works in mysterious ways, we know that.
Yeah, true.
But, yeah, I mean, I think it does make it more accessible, and I think that quite possibly that might be the direction that the gaming industry might go in the future. I'm just wondering if we'll actually see Sony do something similar. I don't think we'd see Nintendo do that,
Well, you see, it's funny because I did that. Do you remember when I purchased my PlayStation Pro?
Yes.
I've done that on finance with Shop 2.
Yeah.
And I pay £15 a month. So you can work their maths out on that one, can't you?
Yeah, it is.
It seemed convenient for me at the time to do that way. And it's all right. It goes out beginning of every month when the wages pop in. So don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So people that might want to go in and dive into another console might think that's a good way, instead of shelling that money out full whack, that it'll be the ideal way, for them. Especially with the Game Pass and the way that's going to be working soon, with the amount of games that are coming out on that. That you're going to have access to all these newer games, so it'd be ideal.
Yeah, indeed. So, and of course, the other bit of news, which happened the day before I went to Insomnia, was the Jacksonville shooting. 3 dead, including a gunman.
Oh, I thought it was 2. Yeah, I thought it was 2. Yeah, I thought it was 2 last time I saw, but...
Yeah, no, it's 3, including him.
Is it me, or there's something about Florida in the last couple of years?
Well, maybe the heat, who knows? But, it goes down to the thing of, if you let people have guns, you're risking this as a possibility. I mean, I know that we don't understand it in this country because, well, we don't allow guns unless you've got a specific license for it. Whereas, you can go into a convenience store and buy guns in America, can't you?
Yeah.
So it's such a shame, for those people who were at a gaming convention, because it was, wasn't it the Madden, NFL 19 gaming event? It was, wasn't it? Yeah. Such a shame, but anyway, I just thought, we'd just really say, because we do have a lot of American listeners, sorry that all of that's happened, sorry to hear about it, really. So, that's that. So, shall I talk about Insomnia in that case?
Yes, go on, I'll sit back with me. I've got vodka and lemonade tonight, so I'll sit back with that and you crack on.
Okay, well, in that case then, so Insomnia, which is a gaming event quite similar to EGX, but obviously slightly different focus, because they look at YouTubers and people like that as well, whereas EGX is more just pure gaming. This one also includes tabletop gaming. It includes lots of other things as well. And also YouTubers. So, there were some special guest YouTubers on there, I have to admit, in terms of the ones that were there. I didn't really recognise many of the names.
Is it really just for them to just shine their asses out at everybody, is it, or what? Do you know what I mean? It seems a bit, because they're not really famous people, are they? They're just
they are in their
games.
They are in their communities, aren't they? Some of these people do have quite big followings, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, some of the ones, 8-Bit Gaming, I'd heard of them. Animated Callum, just trying to see some of the other ones that are on there. Grant Hines, who I know that my son watches.
You see, all
this
is going over my head, to be honest. It's really weird.
Most of these do as well, because I think it's probably the generations below us who were actually, more into this, to be quite honest.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been watching some YouTube playthroughs just to do with Destiny for what I'm up to at the moment. But there's certain ones I listen to that I know pretty good at it, and those that are on other podcasts that I listen to, and those guys I do actually chat to on Twitter sometimes. So you have that interaction there more, I think. But with some of these people there, I don't know if the kids get the interaction with them that much or not. I don't really know.
I don't know. I mean, in terms of all of them, the one that stood out to me that I knew, and that was only because my son was into it, was Grant Hines. And he does reaction videos and try not to laugh videos and all that sort of stuff, which my son finds absolutely hilarious. Oh, and also I think I'd heard of Game Boy Luke as well. He was another one who was on there. But there was an awful lot of YouTubers throughout the 4 days of the event because, this went from Friday to Monday. And the first time that I'd been, it was when Dan TDM had gone. Dan TDM wasn't there this time. Those of you who don't know, Dan TDM's a big one with the younger generation in terms of playing Minecraft and stuff like that. In terms of being there, though, Poke, that's another quite a famous one that was there that, I recognised as well. But in terms of actually the last one I did, which was Insomnia 59, that was very much focused on the YouTubers, whereas the YouTubers were just there this time. They did have the big on-stage things and all of that, and the meets and greets, but the meets and greets were much less structured. You didn't have to pre-book. You could just walk up, stand in a queue and get a meet and greet if you wanted. And there was a couple there, but to be honest, the queues weren't large for those at all.
Right.
So, and I think that pretty much says a lot about the YouTube bubble has burst as well, really. Because
you think so?
I think it has. Because you look at everything that is happening on YouTube now. They're taking away revenue and all of that sort of stuff. And, the YouTubers some of them are leaving it. Even ones like Buggy, who's got millions of subscribers, he seems to be less angled with it, do you know what I mean? And more concentrating on other things. So, I think that YouTube has basically shot themselves in the foot with the way that they've gone, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to actually get that foothold into the YouTube world and start to get followers. Every time you get one when you're an early YouTuber, you're cheering. And we both know what that feels like. But there were, obviously, they're all people doing similar things to the sort of stuff that we do. So, good on them if they can have them, their moment of fame and, feature on here, then all the better for them. There was a boxer who was there as well. I'm not sure what he'd won or whatever. I'm sure somebody will be able to shout it out at me. But they had this Noob and Nerds competition at the end of the day where it was sort of like a game show based around gaming. So they could either play a game or had to answer questions or had to do a physical challenge, which was really quite entertaining. We actually went and sat and watched that. That was quite good fun. But that was it for the YouTuber side. Like I said, to me, it was an extra attraction that was there if you were into it, but you by no means had to get bought into that this time. Last time I went, which was a couple of years ago, you definitely needed to be into the YouTubers. But this time, it was a much bigger event. And the last time I went, it was in probably 1.5 halls. This was split over 3 halls because they had one area was about esports and, competitive gaming. So they had one hall entirely closed off, and what you can do in this is they set up competitions. So we'll give a shout out to Craig Cole's son, who did enter one of the competitions, and he ended up coming second and beat a few pro gamers.
Oh, really? Good luck.
Yeah, so, good lad on doing that, so well done. To be honest, we went in there, we had a look, I'm not really that bothered about watching people play computer games because all that you could see was them tapping at the screen, the keyboards. You couldn't actually see what they were playing or anything like that. So, but I'm sure that for everybody who was involved in that, because you could bring your own PC to the event and set it up, and you could, take part in that way by taking your own equipment, which is a great idea. It's like the old-fashioned LAN parties, isn't it, really? Going back years and years ago. So that was really good, good entertainment for some people. And you could win cash and prizes and stuff like that as well. So, there was, a reward to it as well. There was also, they were using drones that had been specially adapted, and they were playing a drone version of Rocket League.
Okay.
So, you could go and practice that if you wanted to. In order to qualify, in order to be able to play in the Rocket League bit, what you had to do is control one of the drones and knock the ball out of the hands of these people who were holding it. And these drones had been, they had stuff around them so that if they fell to the ground because people didn't know how to control them, they would just sort of bounce. But they could, it still got the airflow around and that, so it didn't actually damage the drone. Because obviously it was a hard concrete floor. That was quite interesting to watch. It's amazing how difficult those drones are to control, because most people couldn't do it.
Probably not.
Yeah. They also had King of Bots there, which was Robot Wars. It was like a miniature version of that, and they had a little battle arena showing all of that. So those were some of the side stuff that was there. In terms of other things, I was really disappointed to see Microsoft hadn't turned up, because they were at Insomnia 59, but PlayStation weren't. And this time, PlayStation were there, big time, as were Nintendo. No sign of Microsoft at all.
Well, they're on hot off the heels of Gamescom, I suppose.
But so PlayStation and Nintendo.
But PlayStation weren't really there, were they? As far as I'm aware.
I don't know.
Destiny was there, but I don't think PlayStation was there as such.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But from what I was reading about in the news, I didn't hear anything about PlayStation actually being there, because they got that Paris one, didn't they? They have later in the year.
Yeah, that's the one that they do a lot of release information on, isn't it? As well, it's one of their more favourite ones. So yeah, but PlayStation were there. Nintendo was there. Nintendo had quite a large area to actually,
It's all for the kids, though, isn't it, there?
No, it's not all for the kids. Please stop driving away our Nintendo listeners. It's not all for the kids. That's why they do have, more adult games on there. I mean, for God's sake, it's getting Diablo 3.
Who wants to pay 60 quid for that, though? Whoever it's going to be, 50 quid.
Well,
horrendous.
Lots of people have when it was first released.
Yeah, I know, but, on the Switch, really? I mean, you could spend that for 30, 35 quid, 30 quid.
Well,
I'm not here to knock Nintendo, but
really?
maybe it's Blizzard, though, that should think about, how long it's been out now as a game.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think that there have been reports that the Switch, some games it doesn't think that you're going to be able, like Rage 2, for example. There's reports that Bethesda think that it's not going to be able to work on the Switch in terms of the way that they want it to. So, and we know that it's not as powerful as, the PlayStation or the Xbox. So, it's just one of them things. It's a handheld console that also plugs into the TV, but it's a good bit of kit if you actually play one, and you're not talking from experience on that, though, are you?
Well, no, look, Nintendo ain't for me, it's simple as, and the games in there ain't for me either, It's just one of those things. I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying, my personal view is I feel it's got more of a children behind it, sort of, for a lot of the games. There's maybe there are some adult games in there, but really, I think the bulk of Nintendo's, they get more for the kids, and that's where it sells more.
Nintendo are family friendly. That's not to get mixed up as just solely for kids.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think a lot more children would be playing on a machine like that.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm not here to knock Nintendo. My thoughts.
Yeah, we know. You've aired them lots of times. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, both of those had a big presence, but the PC market was massive at this.
But that's more that's what I thought more this was for, though, wasn't it?
No,
really?
Because that's more the PC Gamer Expo that they do. But obviously, PC's always been there anyway. So but in terms of this time, it was a lot more noticeable than the last time I'd gone to Insomnia in 59. So some of the big names that are out there, so Overclockers, for example, they had a stall, and they had loads and loads of absolutely gorgeous equipment, all sorts of different boxes of shapes and sizes, really, really nice kit, but really expensive. I mean, I was looking at one PC and thinking, wow, that looks absolutely fantastic. And then I started reading the specs, which were all good, right up until you got to the graphics card. And bear in mind, this is £1,495 PC, and it had an NVIDIA 1060 graphics card in it.
That's a joke, isn't it?
My laptop, which cost much less than that and was very similar spec, has a 1060 graphics card in it. I would have expected it in the price of the machine that I was looking at. I would have expected at least a 1070 or a 1070 Titan in there, and it didn't have it in. I was really, really shocked. And I just worry that overclockers, well, they overclock things, obviously, but I just think that maybe they might be getting a little bit too, this is our brand, and you're paying more for the brand than you are for actually what you're getting. But I might be wrong. I know that overclockers are, they do good deals on stuff, which is why I couldn't really quite understand why these PCs were so expensive for what they seem to offer. So yeah, but it was a good stall. They had lots on there as well. There was a customizable controller stand as well. It was only relatively small, and you couldn't just buy them straight off, I don't think. I think you had to order what you wanted. But I had a look at some of their controllers. Funnily enough, all of their Xbox ones had sold out, apart from one. So actually, they must have been selling them actually from the stand as well, because he only had one Xbox one, and the rest were all PlayStation. And he actually did say all the Xbox ones have sold. But they were like Scuff, but I didn't really quite feel it as much as Scuff. Do you know what I mean? In terms of that, I did actually, although Scuff weren't there, I did actually get hold of a Scuff controller. There was one stand that had a couple of them in. I don't know whether or not.
Oh, okay, that's a shame. You would have thought they would have been there, though.
Well, you would have done, but because it is quite a big gaming convention. Like I said, it's in 3 halls at the NEC. That's quite a big area to cover. And I had a look at one of the Scuff controllers, and you could tell it was much better quality than the normal Xbox controller. To be honest, not that there's anything the matter with that quality, but you could tell it was better quality. The triggers on the underneath on this particular one, because it had the locking, triggers, and then the finger triggers for underneath the actual controller. They were very stiff. Yeah. You would know that you'd pressed those definitely. And my wife, foolishly enough, left me next to the stall that was selling it. And if it hadn't have been for the fact that I knew she was coming back from the loo any minute, I think I would have ended up buying one, to be quite honest with you. Just because of, why not? But I resisted the urge in the end. But as you do. But I'm still looking for a Scuff controller for the PlayStation, definitely. But I want to see what the Scuff Vantage is going to be like when that comes out. So, but the amount of stalls that were there, it was absolutely fantastic. You could buy, anything to do with pop culture, really, at these things. There was limitless numbers of like t-shirts and stuff like that. Some really, really fantastic designs. And there were a couple of really good artist booths as well, where people are obviously drawing stuff about pop culture. And one guy's stall, it was SM Artworks, if I remember rightly. He paints limited edition, pictures and then gets prints off them. So I got one with the Millennium Falcon, the Lando Millennium Falcon. So it had the bit at the front. Yeah. Being chased by a Star Destroyer, which looks absolutely great. I don't know whether or not you've seen a picture of it. It was in that swag thing that I did.
Yeah, you left all the bits and bobs. You've got, keyboard and stuff.
So, looking at that, that was absolutely fantastic. And I also got a picture of the Enterprise, the original Enterprise, as in the 60s Captain Kirk era one, a painting, and really pleased with those. But he actually had a couple of pictures. He said his main focus was Knight Rider. He said he loved Knight Rider, and he had a lot of pictures, on there. And he had one that was on a tin, painted or a print on a tin, and it had Knight Rider, it had Airwolf, it had Street Hawk, and I think something else on there. But it was all like 80s TV shows. It was a really, really great painting. If it had been the original, but obviously like this was a print on tin, and I almost bought it, but I didn't want to get it on tin. I want, if I was going to get a picture, I'd want it on paper or canvas or whatever. He had some great pictures of like Serenity and characters in Star Wars like Kylo Ren and stuff like that. So really, really talented. And then another stall that was there had some, like, their own versions of film posters and stuff like that. And they had the Cornetto trilogy with, obviously, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, and my personal favourite, Shaun of the Dead. And I came so close to buying that Shaun of the Dead one. I really wish I had now, because it was really good artwork. But I've got a limited number of wall space I can hang anything now.
Yeah, no, I was looking at posters quite recently. Just put something on the wall. I've got a few bits out of my vinyl I've got some things but yeah, interesting.
Corsair were there, so they're a PC component manufacturer with loads of stuff as well, and that was where I actually got my keyboard. So I got an RGB K55 keyboard. I know it's not micro switches and it's membrane and all this, that and the other, but it is a gaming keyboard, but it's also got, additional multimedia keys and, macro keys and stuff like that as well. And you can actually control it through the Corsair piece of software that you can download from their website called IQ, which if you've got any other Corsair products, it'll control them as well. But really, really nice keyboard. I'm going to do a video review of it at some point as well after, got used to everything to do with it. But like I said, you can set different colours, different layouts and all of that sort of stuff with this. At the moment, I've just got it on a pulsing RGB, so it keeps changing colours, and, the left-hand side of the keyboard's different colour to the right-hand side, but you can have it all one colour. You can have it pulsing and, moving between different colours or just fluctuating different types of light. It just looks really nice, and it's a nice sort of quality keyboard as well for the amount of money that it is, which is about £55. There's not much around it in terms of value for money, in terms of what it does and how it does it.
It's just like buying another controller, though, isn't it?
Well, effectively speaking, for a PC gamer, it is a controller, isn't it, of a type? Because how many PC gamers actually use keyboard and mouse, and that's your joystick. So yeah. Really, really quite nice thing was that. Cosplay was there as well. Really big presence in terms of cosplay.
Did you take any photographs?
No, I didn't. I actually took video, to be honest, because I thought, again, I might just show a bit of highlights from, the day that I went to some music or something like that. That was kind of my idea. But I didn't actually really take that many pictures. But, I was trying out my new camcorder sort of thing, because, the one that I got from EGX, CX, when I traded in my old DVDs. So, that was my first experiment with that. But I will have something, I'll put something out in terms of being able to see what was there. But cosplay, really good. Had a nice little chat with some of the people who were doing the cosplay, because we also took one of our, family friends who's actually our babysitter as well. And she's going actually to learn about being a video game industry, but she's also got a big interest in cosplay. So, the costume design and the animation and all of that sort of stuff, because they do animatronics and that sort of thing as well. So, we had a good chat with them there. And one of the things that was talking about was maybe about getting someone on the show who could possibly, come and talk to us about cosplay and about, what it involves, how people can get involved if they want to, that sort of thing.
There's a lot of work. Those that do it really well, there's a lot of work involved and a lot of time and effort to put the costumes right together. And
also, how and why do people get involved in it as well? Because evidently it's a really good community, and obviously it's a big popular culture thing, and it's actually the amount of people who are getting involved in it is increasing and increasing. And when you've got people, from 8 to 80 who are doing it as well, I think it's...
Well, it's like, if you remember when we went to Destination Star Trek last year.
Year before, mate. Year before.
Year before, blimey. The amount of people that are dealing in cosplay there, let alone, and in all sort of walks of Comic-Cons that there are, there's cosplay somewhere around the corner.
Well, effectively speaking, we went in cosplay because we had our uniforms on. Well, our tops. but we had made ourselves to look like we were in uniform. So, effectively speaking, we've done cosplay now. And very mild form of it.
Yeah, you could say it. Mild form, yeah.
But nevertheless, we've popped our cosplay cherry, as it were. So, it can only get more intricate after that.
Yeah.
So, but really nice people to talk to. Absolutely fantastic. And another one, I know I did talk about this on a previous show, before a couple of years ago, last time I went, but I had a bit more of a chat with the people from the charity called Special Effect. So this is a gaming charity, and basically what they do is they help people with disabilities to play video games, in various different ways. Either through therapy or through specialised equipment and that sort of thing. And they had the new Xbox controller that's been designed for people with disabilities that's been released next month. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a look at that and about how that works. And the way it works is it kind of looks like a slab with two trackpads on, circular trackpads, a bit like, the trackpads that are on the Steam controller, for example, and then a little D-pad and a couple of other buttons. But then at the back of the unit, you've got the ability to plug in buttons for everything, even stuff that's actually supposed to be on the trackpad. So if, you have somebody who, maybe can't, maybe, I don't know, doesn't have a right trigger finger, would be unable to use that. Not a problem. You can plug in a button where they could use another part of the body in order to be able to press that, and it, these buttons then fit on a Velcro thing which you can place anywhere that you want. So really, and this charity's actually helped design this as well, which I thought was, really good.
Yeah, no, they really work well into how they wanted to do this, just to make gaming a possible, for people with disabilities. And hats off to Microsoft for doing it, to be honest. Yeah,
and, like I said, this charity, it helps anyone with a disability. So it can be somebody who's born with a disability, or it could be like a combat veteran who's, lost limbs and whatever, and's come back and now can't play video games. They help them to do that. And some of the technology that they had, they had a laptop there that had Minecraft on. And what they developed is an interface that tracks eye movement and allows people to play video games by using their eyes, which, and my son had a go on that, and he was away with it. It was really, evidently, it's very intuitive as well. So, even people who can't touch a controller because maybe they're paralyzed, they can still do things just by looking in different directions and, control things. And they were using Minecraft, but I'm sure that it will apply to other things as well. So I think the charity is really worthwhile. They have a couple of events every year. So the one that's coming up, which is on the 28th of September, is the One Special Day event. And that's gaming industry backed, for raising money for the charity. But they also have one in February, which is more sort of like gamer related. And I was wondering whether maybe, we might want to do something like do a 24-hour live stream or something or other like that to help try and raise money for the charity. I think that would be quite good, because we've talked about doing something like that before, haven't we?
Yeah, it's just getting the right time and place to actually get it working, isn't it? Because we've got busy lives.
and fitting it around that. But I think it's something that's really worthwhile, because I know it's important. People do. There's charities for the British Heart Foundation, Age UK, RSPCA, RSPCB, there's loads, isn't there? There's ones for everything, but I think some of the things that get overlooked is just like giving people a little bit of happiness, in terms of pleasure about being able to do a video game, stuff like that. So, I'd be quite interested in supporting it. And given that it's February, it gives plenty of time to plan. So, whether or not you'd be interested, I don't know, Steve, but I'm certainly considering it. But also what they said was that, they might be open to coming and talking to us about their charity and what they do as well. So I think that might be quite interesting for some of our listeners as well. So I'll try and arrange something like that. But yeah, really nice people to talk to as well. And the guy who I was talking to and my wife was, he does something else, video game related, but he also helps out the charity, so it's quite obviously something that people get really involved in. Another thing that was there as well was Just Dance. Really, that was their big style actually, because what they were doing was there is evidently a world championship for Just Dance.
Okay.
I
don't know what to say really about that, but yeah, okay, yeah.
Well, people play all sorts of things, don't they? So, yeah, they had the Just Dance World Cup qualifier on a Monday. So, obviously, this is something that people have obviously pre-done before anyway. But that was quite entertaining, and then you could get up on a little stage and do your Just Dance bits yourself as well, if you wish to.
Did you?
Did a heckers like.
Why not? It'd been a laugh. You could have got them to video it.
No, to be honest, at that point, the family had sort of like said, "Oh, let's have a sit down and we'll watch this." And I thought, I do not want to watch people play Just Dance.
How did Mrs. take going around the whole place, because you're there for quite a while, weren't you? It's a long day.
We were there, we arrived there at just after 9.
Yeah.
We got in at 10:30 and we left at 6. So it was a long day. And that bearing in mind that, we'd also travelled 3 hours either side as well as that. Yeah. So it was a really, really long day. But yeah, I think that she actually enjoyed it more than the last one. There was lots to do. She did enjoy the Geek and Geek and Noobs on stage thing where they were like doing a competition, and she had a good laugh at that. But it's not really her thing. But I think generally as a day out, it was just a nice day out with the family, and had a bit of fun. Really, I think she enjoyed. She had quite a bit of a laugh watching Just Dance. I think her and my son and our friend, they were sat there for about 20 minutes watching it. I went off and wandered and did something else because I thought I don't want to watch this. Matter of fact, I had a game on, something which I'll talk about shortly. Yeah,
so should we talk about some games you played?
Yes. Well, I played two big titles. The first one was Spider-Man.
Yeah. Now, was this the PC version? Or was it actually the PlayStation?
No, it was a PlayStation version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was on PC as well, but...
No, Sony had two rows of PlayStation Pros with 4K TVs showcasing Spider-Man there. So, and they gave you a couple of freebies like a wallet and some badges for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And a bag, which was a bit random. But yeah, so went and had a go on that. So you had a time-limited trial, which is interesting because, most of the time when you go to these things, someone comes and taps you on the shoulder and say, right, that's it, you're off. But this was time limited. So you literally started and then you had 20 minutes to do what you wanted to do. And, and you could explore the city in whatever way.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like a demo that would be focusing you on a route to play the game just to see what it feels like. They just let you loose on it.
Yeah. It was a demo, obviously, because it was, it was a time limit trial, but kind of felt like you had access to the full game while you were playing it. And it looks superb.
Amazing still.
Amazing. Yeah. Really good. Really shows off the Pro at its best, I would say. Well worth playing. Well worth playing. The gaming style, in terms of the fighting...
It's Batman, is it?
Yeah, I was going to say it's Batman-ish. It's more intricate, but in a looser sense.
Yeah.
Because, there's a massive array of moves that you can perform. And I really like some of the things, like, for example, if you hold down L1 and L2, when you were near something, Spider-Man would shoot his webs out, grab hold of the object, and he could swing it round your head, knock people out in the way, and then crash it down on someone. That was quite cool. There was other moves, like obviously you got your web stinger moves, and you could like repeatedly quickly fire your webs at someone, and you could like mummify them in your webs, which was really good.
So having that first feel on the play, do you feel that it's a game you want to pick up still, or
day one release?
Yeah,
day one. So it might be Fireteam down the test. I don't know. On the 7th, because we've got competition on that day, haven't we? But no, I loved it. The sound was great, the graphics was great, the game was great as well. There was obviously a lot of variety because Rihanna had a go on Spider-Man as well. It was only us two queued because, my son wasn't interested and was a bit young, and my wife certainly wasn't interested in playing it. So they wandered off and did their thing while we went and did this. And her experience of it was completely different to mine. So she went into an area and she fought a big boss after a couple of waves of guys. And I did something entirely different. I went to like one of the Kingpin's lairs that was marked on the map, because, you see it sort of like on your compass, it's marked on the same way sort of like Skyrim does, as this is an objective you can go to. But then you can also switch on another view where you right click, R3, and then it'll show you on the map with like a bright light going up into the sky, and then you can just swing there and it'll tell you how far it is towards the thing that you're heading to. The web swinging was great fun, swinging through New York City and all of that sort of stuff, and you can make Spider-Man do all of the fancy jumps and twists, turns. And
is it very fluid sort of movements? Is it not janky at all in any shape or form?
No, really, really smooth. I was really impressed with, just how smooth this was. It was a very polished demo of the game.
Yeah.
But what I did was I went to like the Kingpin's lair, or one of his hideouts, fought a load of bad guys, killed the commander who was firing rocket launchers at me, and then I went off and did a Peter Parker mission. Well, not Peter Parker, but like a more photographic sort of mission. So I had to go through the city and find all of these areas of pollution and get samples, and then that told me that actually there's these 3 cars that are doing this deliberately, and then I had to go and find them and photograph them. And then my time trial ran out, so I don't know what happens after that. But there's obviously a variety of different missions, because when you clicked on, on the map, or on the R3, there was loads of things lit up around you.
Did you try and go into some of the menus, or were you sort of told to stay clear of them?
No, you were just left on your own, to be honest. But I wanted to get into the game, so I wasn't really too bothered about what's in the menus. I was sort of like, right, I want to find out, how does this game feel, because I've been sitting here humming and hawing. Do I get it? Don't I get it? Do I get it day one? Don't I get it day one?
You can only play one game at a time, though.
Yeah, you can.
And you got Tomb Raider coming out as well. Was that there at all?
Tomb Raider was there. I never got on Tomb Raider, though. Tomb Raider had a bus, all equipped out with screens and everything in there. But the queue was long, and it seemed to end quite early as well. So, well,
you haven't you haven't played the last game yet.
No, so I wasn't really as bothered about getting into Tomb Raider, to be honest. I looked at they had a video screen on the outside showing gameplay, and I thought, yeah, okay, that looks quite cool. But I haven't had a hands-on, experience with it. But I just didn't want to waste the time standing in long queues.
No, well, if you only got a day, and we know what it's been like in the past with these sort of places you visit, that you want to maximise the amount of time you get, but if you can find the shorter queues to be in to play more, then that's what you go for, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And while, the family was sat looking at Just Dance, really close to there was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was all shut up. So, it was an enclosed sort of little area. I would say, probably about 4 meters square that was halved. Yeah. And maybe a bit bigger than that, probably about 5 meters square, that was halved. And in one half there was Trials, the new Trials game, and in the other half was Assassin's Creed. So that was like the Ubisoft sort of area.
Yeah.
I went in and had a go on the new Assassin's Creed. That wasn't a timed demo, just someone come along and tap you on the shoulder and say, come on, get off, sort of thing, which is a bit of a shame, because I was just getting into it, actually. But you were like thrown in at level 18 somewhere on the map. Right. It was a proper demo in terms of it as a game, but you were just put in a sort of random place. It was a bit difficult. I found it a bit difficult to know in terms of what sort of direction I wanted to go in, because everything seemed to be quite a bit of a run. But I just had a bit of a general explore, had a bit of a combat with some people, and in one of the areas you had to kill 3 guards, kill the commander, and then blow up 3 things, and then do something else to something else. And I couldn't get the markers up to know what I was supposed to be doing in the areas I was supposed to blow up or catch stuff on fire and stuff like that. So that I found it to be a little bit frustrating. The other thing as well is there was screen tear on a demo. Now, obviously, it's still early days. Screen tear will get sorted and whatever, but you would have thought that on the rigs that they were running, because they were running on PCs,
of course, yeah,
they would have had them as smooth as anything. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they've got 1060s in there and they should have had 1070s or 1080s, I don't know. But yeah, it was sometimes noticeable in terms of that. So a bit disappointing in that respect. But gameplay-wise, that appears to be very, very similar to the previous one, Origins, in terms of the way it plays. And graphically, other than the costume of the Sparta outfit, I wouldn't have known I was playing a different game, I don't think.
Did you finish the last one, though?
No.
Do you know why I'm so pleased, in one way, that I haven't really touched this game? Because I don't know if you know aware that Assassin's Creed is taking a year off next year.
Yeah.
So that means if I can play the one that I do have, and then maybe next year they get to that one at some point.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
You know, because there's people that probably play them outright, but yeah, they're taking a year off for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So that'd be handy. That'd give me a break and I won't be able to catch up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, I mean, I only got to the second map on Assassin's Creed. And as a matter of fact, when I'd come off it, I thought, I've got to pick that game up. That was my immediate thought. So I've got to pick that game up and complete it, because I've not so far. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's obviously got a bit of work to go before it's actually a final product, though, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure what the release date of that is. I think it's later, isn't it? So, yeah. So, that was it. Other presence was VR in terms of PlayStation, VR and Hive. They were, Insomnia big style as well. As was Gaming / Beyond, because Beyond is like their gaming competition, where you can hire, like my son had, hired Beyond to have a gaming party. But they also do competitions and stuff like that as well. They had a big presence there, and they were selling all of the t-shirts for their league, their different teams in the league. You could also buy loads of Insomnia stuff as well, all sorts of branded stuff. Was there as well. So it's really come on very nicely in terms of a gaming event. I think when Insomnia 64 comes round, if you do like video games and that sort of stuff, definitely go to it, because it's not, I don't think it's as good as EGX in terms of pure gaming, but it offers so much. And there was even like tabletop gaming as well. Oh, I forgot as well. They also had Starlink there, which seems to be like a new sort of Skylanders sort of game where, you have toys that go with it as well. That was there. And I obviously haven't mentioned Nintendo. They were there. They were showing all of the Labo stuff.
Oh, they had like the cardboards at the back of a shopping centre then, like section.
Not quite. But they also had, a good variety. They had like a couchy sort of, well, not a beanbaggy sort of area.
Did they have areas where kids could actually build them and give them a good go then?
Not build them, but play them.
Yeah.
But they had like beanbags with 3DSs there. They had like a competitive area as well where people could compete against each other on like Mario Kart and whatever. And then they had like a competition going as well. And they were constantly, jabbering on that stall. But again, I'm not that into Nintendo these days. So I sort of like paid it a bit of a cursory glance and then moved on. So sorry guys for anybody who is in Nintendo. The other thing they had as well was an arcade area, so like a retro arcade, and on the retro arcade there was all sorts of machines from pinballs upwards, as well as old consoles. But what got me was, in terms of the retro arcade machines, you had to pay to use them. So I just said, nah, not interested.
No, absolutely.
I'm not going to stick a pound in and play Space Invaders for, like 5 minutes and then die. I think those days have gone for most of us, to be honest, especially considering we can download it for free and then play it at home. So yeah, which was a bit of a shame. I think it would have been a nice touch if they'd have actually done that for free. But nevertheless, there was all of the older equipment there that, you could play PlayStation 1s and stuff like that. That was really quite good. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it as an event. Absolutely fantastic. Lots to do. I could have gone there another day, to be quite honest, although I don't think my bank account could have done as well. Because I was quite pleased I got a little Hitman statue thing as well, with him shooting his guns in 2 different directions. That had been reduced from 50 quid to 20. It's quite good. But there was loads of stuff. I almost bought a Cade 6 action figure as well, seeing as I'm a hunter. But but I changed my mind at the last minute because my wife was giving me a funny look saying, why are you buying a toy?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So, and that was it. So lots and lots of things to do there.
Yeah, glad you had a good time.
Yeah, and it's, it's only like 20 something quid to get in, so it's really quite reasonable as well. Well worth a look. Definitely well worth a look. Are we going to do questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're ready.
All right, we'll move on to listener questions.
John, what's happening to us?
Okay, so for some reason we seem to be having a bit of a time travel question session this time. I think everybody's sort of like coordinated. So, as usual, we'll start off with Mark, and Mark's asked, if someone has asked you 20 years ago what the future of gaming is going to be like, would your answer have been anything like the games you play today?
Probably not, I don't think. I mean, you always feel that, you always look at and think that FMV would progress and you would be going, the games would get better.
Yeah.
But I think we've had a couple of big leaps over the last couple of years. It's difficult. I wouldn't know what to think. If you're going to go back 20 years and you'd be playing 8-bit games or whatever, I think you'd be astounded to see what there is now, wouldn't you?
I think if we'd have shown our teenage selves just like the most basic game, like for example Minecraft, our minds would have been blown that you could have had an environment like that, and that's just Minecraft. Let alone,
but look at like something like when you're running around Destiny and these planets, or Elite Dangerous, or No Man's Sky. Do you know what I mean? It's just completely mind-blowing to see those images.
It is. It's absolutely, I think the world's come on so far, I think that probably in some ways, some of us would probably thought we'd have been more in a Lawnmower Man virtual sort of world. But no, I in terms of like the video game graphics quality, I always used to say, I can't wait until the games look as good as the FMVs. And now the FMVs from back then don't look as good as the games.
No.
So, it's a long, long way. Do you want to ask your second question?
Yeah, so Mark's asking, what will the gaming be like in 20 years from now? Well, I'd like to hope I can still hold a controller in 20 years from now.
Well, you never know.
And arthritis has got me that badly that I won't be actually able to carry one.
Well, if you can't, then there's always Special Effect. I'm sure they'll be able to help us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So what do you think gaming's going to be like 20 years from now?
I can't imagine, really. 3D will die. VR won't exist. There'll be something new around there that we won't know about.
Yeah.
4D maybe, I don't know. I couldn't imagine. It'd be nice to think that hopefully it'd be nice to still be around in 20 years' time.
Yeah, and still playing video games.
That's right.
Maybe even still doing a podcast.
It will be the grumpy gramps.
Yeah, pop culture granddads. Pop culture grumpy granddads. I mean, for me, I think if VR survives, I think that it'll end up being like very small glasses that you put over your face that will be wireless if it survives. And if there is a maintained interest, I think that sort of like haptics stuff will develop over time, so you get that feedback back as well.
Would you think it'd be like Ready Player One, where you have these bodysuits that we'd be wearing?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, sort of like, some sort of haptic feedback. I mean, evidently the porn industry is developing stuff like that for waggling your joystick, shall we say?
Excuse me. Yeah.
So yeah, I can imagine that will then feed into more mainstream sort of culture, and I can imagine that would, be something, because we're at the early development parts of that now, aren't we? With things like the X-Rocker chairs where they'd have rumble packs. And, there have been pads you could put on your chest before as well.
Yeah, we've had like, for the cinema, we've had D-Box for quite a while, which is like putting a sub under your seat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. It'd be pretty amazing. I mean, how lucky are the people that are teenagers now? Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it's like what amused me was today, my son decided he wanted to use his laptop, and it's been ages since he's used his laptop. So
switched it on. It said, from the 28th of April, this version of Windows was no longer supported. You need to update it. And it took me forever to get all of the rubbish off that had been installed to be able to have enough room on the hard drive to install the operating system, the new version of it. And, it was like, my son was sat there saying, it's like dial-up. It's nothing like dial-up. You have no idea what the hardship of the dial-up life was.
He's got a clue when we try to download a movie that would take days, literally days.
Months.
And you try and stream something, and you might not even get an image.
Well, to be honest, you couldn't even stream a telephone call back in those days. So it was like, yeah, get a life, pal. But I can imagine. I think that gaming might go down the Netflix model to a certain extent.
Possibly. I mean, with the way Microsoft are going with what their ideas are now, maybe it will be all digital by then completely, and the games will be released straight onto their platforms to play that way.
Well, I think that in the future, gaming will probably be a subscription service that you would, just log on and stream the game directly to you.
Yeah, there won't be shops.
No, probably not. We'll be ordering everything from Amazon or Argos delivery.
We'll be getting our coffins from Amazon as well,
Oh, don't joke. Probably will be. I bet if you looked on there, they probably do sell them.
Yeah.
But
if it gets there late, it'd be a bit awkward.
Yeah. Argos delivery man turns up to the church. Here's a coffin you ordered. Too late, we've embalmed him. Bury him in a sheet. So I can imagine gaming going down the online sort of system sometime in the future. But I still think that there'll be that hardcore element, especially in the PC side, or probably only in the PC side, where some people will have dedicated hardware that will be beyond our imagination in terms of computational power and storage. And everything will be 8K or 16K, because even though that our eyes would not be able to tell the difference, it'll be 16K at 120 megahertz. I can imagine. Okay. So, Craig Cole, like I said, this is a time travel one. So, you have the power of time travel. Which band or singer, living or dead, would you like to have seen? Here's his Johnny Cash.
Well, I'm not going to go too far back because I always missed out and wanted to see Queen.
Okay.
Why are you laughing? Come on, explain.
Because I was going to say I would travel back in time and I would go and watch Kind of Magic.
Well, my brother went to that tour at Wembley. I never got to go, unfortunately, but it's just one of the big bands that were around that.
Oh, it was the band.
Show 'em.
The band.
Yeah.
The band.
Yeah.
There was...
Sorry for nicking your thunder there.
Completely pulled away the rug from under my feet. No, I would be Queen as well. Absolutely, because they are my favourite group by far.
Yeah. Okay. So Richard Matlock.
Yeah.
If you could travel to another country and you could live there for a month, where would you stay? I'm assuming you're going to take the family with you on this one.
Oh, do I have to?
Yeah, you've got to take the family as well. So,
well, I would go to America.
Okay.
Because I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there. We are thinking about going back one year. We want to do that. Go back to Orlando for do some of the stuff again.
Well, I mean, my wife has been to America over and over again before we got married, and I say I want to go to New York. Oh, I've been there 3 times.
Yeah,
I want to go to
I've
Florida.
As well.
Oh yeah, I've been there. I want to go to San Francisco. Oh, I've been there. So I turned around and I said, I want to go to Delaware, and it was like, oh, I haven't been there. But I have seen a space shuttle on the landing pad at Cape Canaveral.
Yeah. No, I'd like to do San Francisco. That's one place. But actually, I'd like to work. Well, from my point of view, I'd like to go to Hawaii.
Yeah,
that's one place I still want to go to at some point before I pop my clogs.
I would also like to go to New Zealand as well as Australia. They'd be also run places. I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean...
No, it's funny because I was just completely off the top, but I was watching In Between Us 2 last night.
Oh, right.
Because they were going to Australia, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. That was such a funny film.
But yeah, no. As long as you don't feed burgers to dolphins, you'll be fine out there, right?
I'll bear that in mind for if ever I go.
Well, I've swam with dolphins when I went to Florida, so So we did. We had a day at Discovery Cove, which was amazing.
Very nice.
That's one thing you should try and do if you ever go out there.
No, well, I desperately do want to go to America. I've either never had the money, or I've not had anyone to go with. Sort of thing.
You've certainly got someone to go with.
Yeah, but I don't have the money now.
No, I mean, a trip to New York would be probably a good start if you just went for a weekend.
Yeah.
Because then you can go around the sights of New York, bit of shopping, it's pretty cool. Really, great place to visit. I loved it.
I'll definitely get there one day.
Mm.
Okay, so we've done Richard, haven't we?
Yep, you're next.
So, Quan-Chan, more travel questions. If you had to travel somewhere to get your last meal, where would you go?
Oh, for your last meal? What, are you on death row or something?
Don't know. Maybe the next meal you eat, you'll die afterwards. Would obviously not go to that restaurant because you pretty clearly got food poisoning.
Yeah. If you're going to go for some dodgy fish.
Yeah.
Well, let me go to Hawaii as well then, so I can do both. I'm sure I could find, they got some great restaurants out there. Or even actually Las Vegas. That's another thought.
I'll tell you one thing I've always wanted to do, going to America. I've always wanted to go to Nirvana and go to where they shot Arena.
You mean Nevada?
Nevada, sorry. Nevada. Yeah, sorry.
Nirvana's a band.
Yeah, that's quite right. Yeah, my mistake. Yeah, I've always wanted to go there and get my picture taken on there. But I would take my Star Trek outfit to do it as well.
No, I know what you mean. Or you can just get the Gorn mask.
No, I would put Captain Kirk's top on,
You've got to rip it into shreds though when you wear it there though.
Oh, it wasn't like that when he first got there.
No, that was after a bit of a rumble.
It was.
Actually, Bill and Ted were there as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
They fell off it.
And evidently, thinking of Bill and Ted, there is going to be the new Bill and Ted movie.
Yeah, that's in the works.
And
apparently.
they're going to be 50 on it.
I'm just trying to think Keanu Reeves trying to act like that, act like a 20-year-old but a 50-year-old, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it'll be more like God gave country and western to you by the time it gets to be 51.
Oh, dear.
So, I think I would go to Italy.
Been there.
So have I. I've been all over Europe. I was
looking at I had some photographs of the day. We got them out, and I was looking at my pictures from when I went to Florence and Venice. And why pictures look so grainy those days when you took them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's probably because you took the pictures with the wrong ISO value film.
No, it was just a clip. It would have been a clip in probably a cartridge those days, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but the film still had an ISO rating.
Yeah.
So if you'd have, taken a picture indoors with an ISO rating of 100, it's not surprising you'd have a grainy picture because it'd be underexposed.
But no, it was. I've got a big box full of photographs from the years. From Japan and all sorts of places over Europe. But yeah, Italy's a wonderful place to go.
Yeah, no,
you keep thinking of Assassin's Creed when you go out there. That's the problem.
It'd be quite nice.
Go to Florence and Venice. You'd be wanting to jump over everywhere.
Yeah, I'd be looking and I'd be going, right, okay, so if I get right up onto the top of that church and then I jump into that barrel of hay. Oh, that'd be funny.
Okay, so Chris Pedersen is saying, if you could only if you could only play one game and watch one movie for the rest of your lives, which game and movie would it be? I'll let you go first.
Well, cheers. One game for the rest of my life. I suppose, just for the sheer camaraderie of it, I'd have to play Destiny 2 so I could give you a game.
Well, looking at the roadmap for the next year, I think it will be the only game we'll be playing, to be honest.
Well, certainly the only game you'll be playing because you'll be obsessed by it.
Oh, right.
Well, so go on.
Yeah, it's very difficult because it's either Fallout or Destiny for me. But right now, because I'm not in the Destiny mood, not in the Fallout mood, I'm going to say Destiny too.
Cool.
What about the movie? No, we know we all have got our favourite movies, and they all know that have listened in the past what they are. But would that be the one you take?
I think it'd probably have to be, wouldn't it? Really,
it's very difficult to have one movie. I know if you had a box set, it'd be slightly different, but we're not going to go down that route.
No.
So is yours Shaun of the Dead then?
Yeah.
And mine would be Blade Runner.
God, that'll make your rest of your life seem like eternity.
That'd be nice and slow paced though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Actually, just quickly talk about Shaun of the Dead. Have you seen the trailer for the new new movie those two guys have put together?
No.
Yeah, there's a new film with Nick Frost and Summer Begg.
Oh, about time they did something together again, because they haven't done anything for a while.
No, and it looks hilarious. And I don't know if I can if I just quickly scope through my Facebook page. We were looking at it last night. And actually, that's easy if I just go to me, can't I? I can do it that way.
Yeah. And
I was looking last night at this, and I'm thinking, oh my God. When I watched the trailer, and it's like Harry Potter at school. It's called Slaughterhouse Rules.
Okay.
So you've got obviously you've got Simon Pegg, you've got Nick Frost. Also, who's the guy that was in that played in Passengers as the waiter?
I know. I can see his face. Yeah, I know what you mean.
He's in it as well. And it looks like a Mickey take out of sort of. What you would call it, Harry Potter, because there's a guy in the trailer. If you watch it, that's got his blonde hair that's definitely Malfoy looking.
Yeah,
but just if you,
Michael Sheen, by the way, was the name of the guy.
Yeah, I'm just going to repost it now, so it'll be at the top of my page when you have a look, see what you think.
Is this on Twitter?
No, on Facebook.
Oh, right, okay.
And while you're looking at that, those t-shirts came out pretty well, didn't they?
Yes, because Alan's just posted a picture to us of him wearing his.
We'll have to put one on Facebook.
Yeah, you'll have to. I haven't seen you wearing yours yet.
No, I have already worn it, but I'll get it out tomorrow. Because I'll probably do a photograph with my Xbox in my hand, my new one that's been delivered.
Very cool. Okay, well, we got one more question.
Alan Cochrane.
Who's the better comic actor, Ronnie Barker, David Jason, or Rowan Atkinson?
Can you actually split between the three of those?
Yeah, I know which one I prefer out of all of them.
You see, should we put them in a list?
In reverse order?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So I think I would put Rowan Atkinson third.
Right. Second?
I will go David Jason.
Right.
And Ronnie Barker.
Okay.
Who's an absolute comic genius.
Yes.
Do you agree?
No.
You're putting David Jason in front?
No. I am going to go.
Really?
I'm going to go. David Jason.
Yeah.
This is third.
Mm-hmm.
Second, Ronnie Barker. And first, Rowan Atkinson.
Okay.
And the reason... Sorry, go on.
I'm just to say, my reason for Ronnie Barker is that for what Ronnie Barker did for comedy, you wouldn't have David Jason or Rowan Atkinson. I'm telling you that fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But go on, give me a quick overview of why.
All right, this is going to shock you. I've never rated Only Fools and Horses. Never liked it.
That's an institution. No, you can't say that on this podcast. I'm sorry.
No, I can. As joint founder, I don't like it. I don't like it as a show. I've never really got on with it in terms of, well, just as it. It's just not my bag, because you can't like everything. And while I love David Jason and he's great in things like Frost and stuff like that, or Danger Mouse, he's not someone who I'm particularly that starstruck with. Ronnie Barker, grew up with the two Ronnies. I love Ronnie Barker. I love Ronnie Corbett. Both of them, some of my favourite comedians. But for me, the reason why I'd say Rowan Atkinson is Blackadder.
Well, no, I do agree with you for what Rowan Atkinson's done. But unfortunately for me, he has dipped a bit in his career.
He has.
I mean, when he first came on the scene doing a bit of stand-up before Blackadder, in the Secret Policeman's Ball, it would have been probably, stuff like that. It was outstanding, and some of the stuff he did is amazing. Blackadder is an excellent show, which I'm glad finished when it did, because I don't think if you'd stretched it any further, it would have just gone a bit stale. And Mr. Bean was great for the first couple of episodes, but after that, it was just same old stuff.
Yeah.
And now he's doing another Johnny English as well, hasn't he, recently?
He is.
But it's just, I'm sure I'll get to see it and I'll go, yeah, it was all right. But from a comedic point of view, for me,
But I suppose it depends upon how you're actually classifying it in terms of that comedic element, isn't it? Because if you're looking at it as in, like an all-round entertainer, and the comedy being the forefront, then Ronnie Barker would be first.
Absolutely. That's what I mean, because how they put the comedy they put together, even if you're going to just attach the two of them together,
yeah,
Ronnie Corbett as well. I mean, it's amazing some of the stuff he did, and the timing of it as well. It's just fantastic. I mean, you only got to say 4 candles, and most people will just. I still laugh at that.
Yeah, and have you seen the Ronnie Corbett one?
Yeah, the Blackberry.
Yeah, the Blackberry. That is absolutely hilarious.
Which Harry Enfield helped put together, and very clever, and it just pays homage to something that from the 70s still holds up for me today. I mean, there's some great little pieces you can see on some of the Facebook pages that you can see with Ronnie Barker and some of the other comedians at the time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we have our difference of opinions.
We do.
Otherwise it'd be boring.
But yeah, exactly. But for me, I've always, I grew up with Blackadder, from like my early teens right the way through. Loved Blackadder. Absolutely. I mean, in terms of Blackadder the Second, I can quote verbatim, word for word, every episode.
Yeah. Did you, something you have not mentioned about Rowan Atkinson. Now, there's something I used to watch because we had I suppose, was it mid-80s? We had this comedy that started to come out. We had people like Harry Enfield.
Yeah, not the 9 o'clock news.
Exactly. And how cool was that?
It was brilliant.
And Gerald, if anybody hasn't seen it, check out Rowan Atkinson being Gerald the Ape.
Yeah. I mean, I think he started off, I think you're right, he did start off really strong in his career, and he's ebbed over the time.
I mean, at the time, with that show, because you had a few other comedians that are sadly not with us as well now. They really had it together at that era, and then cause that sort of thing gave us the young ones as well. And some of the stuff Harry Enfield used to do was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I could put Harry Enfield in that list if we were going to do maybe we should do one of those, do a comedy top 10.
Yeah, our favourite comedians.
Yeah.
What about modern ones?
Well, I suppose my modern is falling a bit flat these days. Michael McIntyre's hilarious for me.
No, I can't stand Michael McIntyre at all.
And Lee Evans is a genius. But after that, now there's a couple I've seen at the Comedy Club over the years. I can't remember her full name, but she's Shappa. She's very good on stand up.
Yeah.
But it's a moment now. I think we come to a point where I don't see much from the comedic side at the moment.
Yeah,
there are some new ones out there, but I don't feel they do what people like even Jasper Carrot could do.
Yeah, Jasper Carrot could go in that list.
I mean, there's quite a few you can throw in that list.
And I'll tell you one thing: my absolute favourite comedian of all times, Dave Allen.
Oh God. He comes in that era with Ronnie Barker as well and Ronnie Corbett.
I mean, how he could deliver a line the way that he did, with sitting there with a whiskey, sat on a chair with his legs crossed, smoking a cigar on stage.
Yeah, it was talking about religion.
Yeah, it was absolutely so deadpan, brilliant humour. I mean, in terms of the modern ones, for me, I'm a big fan of Mitchell and Webb. As a duo, I'm not so keen on them separate.
You see, I don't see much stand-up these days, so I'm a bit probably in the dark on that.
Well, Mitchell and Webb are the ones who were on Peep Show.
Okay.
It's them too, but they did before. You can see it, I think it's on Netflix. You can see that Mitchell and Webb look, which was their BBC show, which was like, and not the 9 o'clock news sort of, sketch show sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they do some really funny sketches. I mean, like there's one where they're trying to organise a party, sort of like Eric and Ernie, who could go on that classic list as well. They were absolute comic geniuses. But like Eric and Ernie always used to live with each other. Well, they're in this sketch, they're living with each other, and say, let's have a party. Let's invite so-and-so. Oh, you can't invite Moneypenny because she'll bring him.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean James Bond? Or he always goes, my name's Bond, James Bond. Who talks like that? And then it says, and that's the last time he left this, and he comes out with a Walter PPK and stuff like that. And then said, oh, and also, don't invite Fred, because he'll bring his mate Shaggy and that really weird dog. Did you see the sandwich that they had in the, the left? And he comes out with like a Scooby-Doo sort of sandwich. That's really funny, in terms of the way that they deliver it. But they also, like other sketches where they're, in the trenches in the Second World War, but they're the Germans, and one of them turns around to the other and says, do you think we might be the bad guys? And so well, no, what makes you think that? Well, we've got, like skulls and they've got stars and angels and stuff like, and it's a clever humour, the way that they do it. And I
see, comedy never dies, and there's always someone to take the mantle of comedy that they grew up with. So these people might imitate people like Monty Python, your John Cleese, other people that they've seen over the years. Because if you go further back to when we were probably babies and probably 10-year-olds, is Peter Sellers, and actually Peter Sellers' class.
Spike Milligan.
Yeah, exactly. Peter Cook and Dudley Moore. So even going back to that's the 60s we're talking there.
Yeah, and then there'd be people before that as well. But there's always people who develop something that someone's taken forward. I mean, it's like, in terms of thinking about people like Rowan Atkinson, he was new wave comedy. The whole of the Not the 9 o'clock news crowd was new wave comedy, as it was called.
It was like a rebellious type.
Yeah, with Harry Enfield coming with the loads of money and all of that sort of stuff as well. Yeah. That's how it was. But because it was a more aggressive sort of humour than what we'd been previously aware of. I mean, in terms of other modern ones as well, I like Lee Mack.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of most. Maybe I should start to watch some, but I always go back to some of the old stuff. I think it was what you're comfortable with that makes you still laugh.
I mean, another one I watch is Russell Howard.
I can't stand him.
Can't you? Well, that's all right, because I can't stand Michael McIntyre, so we're 1 for 1 there.
Yeah. I mean, Michael McIntyre, I've seen him twice now, and he's hilarious live. I mean, I think that's the difference. If you try and see someone live compared to watch it on TV, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But hey ho.
Anyway, that's it for the questions. So hope you guys have enjoyed the show this week. It's a bit shorter than normal and a bit of a different style, but we will hopefully be back to regular programmes from the weekend. So.
Well, I'm still on holiday, remember, and I'm going away for a few days as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it might be a little bit disrupted, but hopefully after that, and no doubt after then, Steve's been on, on call for a week. We will then be back.
No. I'm off call for what? I'm off call now till October, I think.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, so September should be quite stable then in that case.
Oh yeah, because it's all going to be Destiny anyway. So
it is. But I think we're going to try. Because are you actually away on the weekend?
No, I think we were going to probably go and stay somewhere on Sunday, but I don't think that's going to materialise. I think we're going away. I think it's going to be beginning of next week. So we'll talk between now and then anyway.
Okay. Well, we will get a show out shortly.
Of some kind.
Even if it's just a special or something like that, because we were going to do that special and special effects, weren't we?
That's right. But there's, I mean, that comedy one could be quite interesting to do for an hour.
It could be. So,
but maybe give us a bit of feedback if you want something like that, and we'll knock it out.
Yeah, certainly. All right. Well, in that case, then it's just down to the normal admin bits. So, do you want to give out your contact details, Steve?
Yeah, Twitter is @Steve007. PSN ID is the real Steve007. Xbox Steve007. My YouTube channel for movies and gaming music is Steve007. Email at steve007@popculturegames.co.uk. And yours?
My details are for YouTube, just search out for Haydn Rhys-Jones. Twitter, HRJUK. PSN, Xbox Live, Steam, everything else, HRJUK. Email, if you just want to send an email to the podcast, it's just podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk. Our website is popculturegamers.podbean.com. You can follow us on Twitter @popculturegamer. There is no S because for some reason Twitter only allows you to use so many characters in your name. And also don't forget there is our Facebook group as well. And other than that, it's a good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.
Good night.
You are about to witness history in the making.